The world of NFTs, we go and mint them, we buy them, we're really bullish on something, but then we end up with like 50 collections or something insane. And we don't have that much time to actually stay up to date with the actual projects. So let's just run through how we can stay updated with the projects. I'll use two projects as an example. Last Haven, this just minted yesterday, and Solcasino, which is the most popular casino on Solana. So let's start with Last Haven. This minted yesterday for 3 Sol for whitelist. It was 2.5 Sol for pre-sale, and it was 3.5 Sol for public mint. So it's pretty expensive. And then pretty immediately, the floor price dropped considerably. It's gone up a little bit now, but if we come over here, have a look at the analytics, we can see here sales were happening for about 1.5 Sol. So clearly people were not bullish. The reason for this is because it did not mint out. When a project does not mint out, a lot of that bullish sentiment, it disappears instantly. So how would we be able to gather if there are issues with mint? Firstly, we'll just come back to the normal page here. We can see, a true decline. We can see the supply here at 6.4K, so 6,400. And the number of individual owners, so individual addresses, is 1,630. To be perfectly honest, this is a game, and I know this is, early bull vibes, so this is not a hype bull market, but really what we want to see is thousands and thousands of individual holders. So there's a lot of people that are interested in the game, because this here, 1.63 thousand wallets, this could potentially be like 1,200 people. Some people may have double up wallets and things like that. But I'm not here to FUD a project or anything like that. Just merely show you where you can get the information. So we'll go back to the launchpad because we know that it did do an actual launch with Magic Eden. We'll go to the past here and we'll click here, Last Haven. So here we can see the total minted was 6,400, but I do remember it being a larger supply. So let's go to Discord and let's work out what the supply was, and let's see if we can anticipate any of the reasons why the FUD was coming, and just in general an update on the project. So we enter Discord. We want to pay attention to announcements and mini announcements as a priority, but sometimes what we can find pretty quickly is just by searching the supply. So just type in supply here and let's see if we can find initially what the supply was. Now let's click on old and let's see if we can find what the individual supply is. Quite often people will do this sort of post, so we'll jump to this and hope we get a bit of a reply. So 7,000, so it seems that potentially they dropped it by about 500. What we can see is when it went to a public mint, it did not go well. And I can understand why. It was over $100 in USD value. Let's go to announcements and let's kind of work backwards. We'll use these techniques for all projects, not just projects that just minted the previous day. So we want to go back fairly early if possible, if we've got time. If we've only got a couple of minutes, just go back maybe a week or a couple of weeks and just run through everything. We're looking for engagement. We want to see there's some pretty high engagement, and we just want to see what kind of the plan is. So we can see that 5,100 spots were sold during our pre-sale, 70% of the total supply. These people paid 2.5 Sol. We'd be able to find that if we went back a little bit further, but I do know that to be the case. And then we had some whitelisted people and then the public sale. They ended up amending the price, bringing it down a little bit lower, but they had a certain goal of actually keeping a certain value to those NFTs. Then we go down further. One thing we can see is Negan here doing all the announcements. So that person would sit up here and then they've got partnerships and moderators and things like that. It would be good to have the team kind of, 4 or 5 people that were able to interact and post things on Discord, not just the one person. Not a deal breaker, but as soon as this person goes offline for sleep, then you've got an issue with communication, especially right after mint. Anyway, let's have a look here. As a reminder, price of our pre-sale was 2.5 Sol, so we can see all the information that we need to if we bought the NFT a few weeks ago or what have you, and then we just needed to kind of update things pretty quickly. Remember, the things with NFT and crypto, and this is certainly not financial advice, only educational, but you cannot predict every project that's going to make it or break it. It's just a reality. So it's kind of like you want to have most of your trades as successful trades, good decisions, and a smaller number, not so good. You'll miss some and you'll botch some. And sometimes you'll be really, really bullish on something and you'll hold it forever. And that's entirely up to you. But one thing overall is you just want to be aware of the project and know if you should let it go or something like that. So now we've achieved a mint day. And there's still decent interaction here with all the tweets, which is fine. This kind of interaction is pretty high, certainly very high. And then the mint is in 25 minutes. They did a good thing by having a huge pre-sale, which was good. and they're still getting plenty of interaction. And then the mint is live. So this went out for the whitelisted people, and then an announcement that the public sale goes live in 10 minutes. So all this is pretty standard. You can skim read this. This is nothing that we'd actually have to pay attention to because it's nothing that's going to elicit emotion. It's nothing that's going to affect the floor price or basically show a delay or anything like that. We go down a little bit further and we can see that part of the supply will now be preserved for you to enjoy in-game. So we will close the public sale in 300 mints. It's important to know that most people in NFTs in this stage of the market are just in to basically mint and sell at a higher price. So if it doesn't go their way, which is more than most projects will not go at a higher price, as soon as they can, they will sell at a lower price just to cut their losses. It's just the nature of these things, and these things happen. A few more NFTs to be sold before the public sale closes for good, and then there's a release on the situation. So whenever you get these sort of releases, two things. As a founder, it's hard, but it's very important that you put these out correctly with transparency and a bit of a plan of attack. It's kind of easy to pause and not to put out any information, but when you don't have information, there's a vacuum and that pulls in other information. So you do want to push out this information. So Negan has gone over a few different things. A supply of 6,400 is the smallest supply among all idle games on the market, ensuring a certain level of exclusivity and rarity. My personal opinion is you want to have more players, not less. So 6,400, that's not a good thing. This is a game. This is something that you want many people to join and many people to talk about in order to enjoy the experience. Now, Negan does have plans. Excited to see where they'll be in 6 months to 1 year. So you need to factor this into your information as well to work out, should I be holding this project? Should I be buying it while it's low? Because maybe it turns out to be a fantastic project. It's kind of hard because you don't have the community on your side necessarily. Next post comes out with some FUD, basically after 3 hours of sleep. Seems I missed a small episode in our community. One thing that I would say that's very, very important here is if you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to have a team that's around the clock for the first kind of week after mint. That's kind of important. Like, people are essentially investing in your project and you are investing in a project. Officially speaking, you're not investing in the normal traditional way. There's no agreement that the thing has to go up or anything like that. In fact, it's not allowed to be stated that it goes up due to regular financial rules. But essentially, you're entrusting someone to take your funds and to build something that's going to deliver the goals of the project. That is the ultimate goal. You know, for that first week, due to the fact that this space is full of people that are degens, new, they want to make money, they want to have fun, they want to FUD, they want to do so many things, just counter it. And if you can have someone there to counter it, that's a smart move. So I would take this as a small red flag that there was no one online to basically monitor this sort of thing and have a bit of a game plan. You have to have a game plan for if it goes well and if it doesn't go well. And if it doesn't go well and your game plan is just attack it in the morning, then so be it. That's just the reality. Then we have a Discord update here with regards to the holders and things like that. What I want to see is when the game will be released. It says the first beta version of Last Haven game will be released in the coming days with a specific time to be announced tomorrow. So we'll be waiting on this to come through. So if you've read this now and you still want to know, should I be buying in or not buying in, the easiest thing to do is either make sure notifications are on Discord, or just set a reminder in your phone, check Last Haven Discord and Twitter. Just those sort of things. That's the most important thing because it can be turned around here. Mistakes have been made. The nature of the markets is the nature of the markets, but that's basically the information that we want. Another thing with Twitter is you can turn on notifications just by clicking on this button here. Normally, I won't have too many notifications on and you will get a lot more information from Discord as well. So this is kind of the information you want. If you're someone that's keen to get a few NFTs and different projects or whatever, just create a community of friends and having people research one project and another project and just people dividing it up is probably a good way to go about it as well, just so you can get the summary of information because that will probably work out more profitable for you in the future. Nothing on the timeline relates to the FUD or the release schedule for the game or anything like that. All it relates to is just retweets of people showing off their artwork. And this doesn't have the greatest engagement, which is not great. It is hard to get really organic engagement. Here's a summary with Last Haven. It was minting between 2.5 to 3.5 Sol. It very, very strongly follows the meta, which is play to earn, with other games such as the Heist and Reavers. So that's a plus point, and that's maybe why there was a decent amount of pre-sale success. Now, unfortunately, Solana has been pumping up. It's gone from like $22 to about $32. So there's less money being spent on NFTs, and there's a variety of other factors that could, of course, influence this. The pre-sale price is now underwater, which is rare, and the mint price at 3 Sol is underwater. So at 1.4 to 1.5 Sol is what you can get right now. People have lost 50% of their NFT overnight, which is not common when there's something that's chasing the actual narrative or meta. So our final action is to set a reminder. We know sometime today they will release the information regarding when the game will be released in its beta version. So set a reminder in your phone so you know to check back on Discord to see if that's going to actually have the new date and the new time when the game will be released. With that information, we'll be able to work out if we should buy NFTs or if we already have them, if we should sell them. We may be selling at a loss, or we may be buying some more at a discounted price. But you do need to be fast. If it comes out with something really, really bullish, some great news, then that price can kind of lift up fairly quickly. As it stands right now, I would say this project is unlikely to achieve the success of other games such as the Heist and Reavers, but I'm certainly open to it. I want hundreds of games like this on Solana, but I'm just teaching you how to do research. So now let's have a look at Solcasino. This has been established for quite some time. We're not going to see too much information on their Twitter because all they're really posting about are just casino things, successful wins, things like that. Maybe a little bit of sporting news. Where we can easily see that there's been some news is basically in the floor price. So if we come and have a look and zoom out, we can have a look and see that, this project was doing really, really well, and then it just tanked, unfortunately. We won't go over it too much, but we had highs of 85 Sol in August, which was fantastic. And then even very, very recently, kind of around here, this is literally a week ago, it was 60 Sol. And then we can basically see that it came down to 50, went all the way down to like 32, and then it went down even further to 20, came up a little bit, and now it's basically down at 20. So this has been pretty tragic in terms of floor price to go from 80 to 20 in just a space of a couple of months, or from 60 to 20 in the space of a couple of weeks. So let's go to Discord, but let's work out when the NFTs started to plummet. On the 13th of October, they were doing quite well. So let's zoom back on Discord to that date. Two channels that are helpful will be announcements and updates. So we're in announcements. We can scroll back, of course, but if we're doing some research from quite some time ago, what we could potentially do as well is just go to search. So in announcements like this, selecting that channel, and then just go old, and then just jump back. And that will jump all the way back, and then we kind of start fresh. Or we can just go jump to present to come to present. That's just a little bit faster if you need to go back a decent amount of time. So 13th of October, we're doing well. This is the 4th of October, and we're going to come forward a little bit. They had a monthly SCS burn, which is their token, and everything's going well. We're coming forward. So this is the 20th, and this is the 15th, and there's nothing between the 7th and the 15th. All we can see here is we found a better solution instead of spending time to build a GameFi system. At this point, the price certainly fluctuated. It went down considerably. So we're not getting the information that we need from the announcements channel. So we'll go to the updates channel and we'll see what we can see there. Scroll on back, come forward a little bit, come forward. So we have an update saying all NFT token emissions will pause briefly for platform maintenance. We will also be making changes to NFT staking, so stay tuned. I see questions like when, how, etc. Currently, I'm not sharing any details with anyone to avoid insider info. Sorry for the last couple of days, but we want to make things better for the community. So all the information hasn't been released here, which means it would have been put in chat. If we go in here and search it for a particular time, maybe using the before a specific or during a specific date search, we could read basically from the team what they were mentioning regarding this. However, what we can see is there's going to be a change to the staking program. The way the staking NFT program was working was you staked your NFT and you got their token, and that basically didn't work. We can't see anything here to help us out, so we'll go back to announcements. So it looks as though some of the announcements have been deleted. I can say that because one, I saw them, and secondly, basically because it just doesn't flow. It doesn't give us enough information to work out what's going on with the platform and the NFTs, meaning they either didn't give the information, or if they did, they then deleted it. So that would be a red flag, and it is a red flag. Immediately, you can see there's a lot of selling pressure. A lot of people unstaked their NFTs and they sold them just because they weren't excited with the team and they weren't excited for the transparency, I guess, of the team. And I can certainly understand why. So ideally, we should see all the information in announcements or updates. And if we can't, we have to start searching it here. And if you have to start searching it here, then unfortunately, that's probably another indicator that you may not want to be a part of this project if it's just a passive thing for you. So what's our summary on Solcasino? The floor price dropped from 60 to 20 Sol. It was quite aggressive dropping. The announcements in Discord were either there and then deleted, or just not too many announcements to begin with, which require people to actually put in a decent amount of research themselves to work out why the floor was dropping. So that's not a good thing for me. Now, I do hold a couple of these NFTs, and I do want to continue holding these NFTs. I can understand the position the team is in. However, the transparency is enough of a red flag for just a passive investor, someone that wants to buy something, pay a little bit of a royalty to the Solcasino team, stake it, use the platform, etc. Not everyone has the time to jump into Discord for 30 minutes just to find out why something's going up or down. And that's completely understandable. So overall, I would say Solcasino did not do very good with their transparency. And this is why I'm giving you lots of information to navigate the NFT space. Trading NFTs is kind of hard. You need a decent amount of knowledge and you need to put in a lot of time. Quite often, you will do better just by holding and staking Sol and looking for good projects that are tokens or have an application, as opposed to going into 10 or 20 different NFT projects. Having said all that, I do think NFTs are really fun, but it's a good idea to know when you should be buying, holding, or selling. So now you have an idea of keeping up to date with your NFT projects that you own. Make sure you put a little bit of effort into those projects so you're actually keeping abreast of any information. And if something does not go well at all, you always have the option to sell. That's completely within your right. No one has to be a diamond hand and hold their NFT forever. Remember to stay curious, keep watching these NFT videos. There's plenty more content like this, and we'll catch you in the next video.